Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Razettew. I have also been known as Nina, so you can call me either or. I am here at the Stockton House and it's another windy day, but I am not going to be filming this entire video outside, luckily. I guess I don't really have to give any history of the Stockton House because we're going to go inside for the tour soon, but I do want to talk about my experience here previously. I came here before and I did not know that they only did the tour on certain Saturdays. And so when I was coming back to the parking lot to get in my vehicle, I noticed these stairs over here, and it was summertime, so everything was green. I could not see that spring back there. It's actually a warm spring or a cold spring or whatever. It's like a pond. And so I got curious and I went down there. And as I was walking through that trail, if you can see that trail down there, I got over to the backside there, and the trail is wide enough that nothing was near this side of me. I thought I was filming, but something yanked the bottom of my cardigan. I almost freaked out, but I didn't. It didn't scare me too bad. I was kind of excited. Looked at my phone. Unfortunately, I was not filming. Like I said, I thought it was, and my camera wasn't even on. And so I made another video as I walked around the rest of the side, and I was shaking, and I was absolutely freaking out. And I was like, something tugged the bottom of my cardigan while I was walking around back here on this trail. There was no plants right there. There were no animals, anything like that. So that was a really exciting experience. And so I went inside, and I came back, and I went inside, and I did the tour, and I asked the tour guide at the end, I said, do you guys ever experience anything here yourselves? And he said that he doesn't, but one of his coworkers, she says that she experiences things and that something sometimes will yank the bottom of her shirt. And I was like, your coworker is not crazy. The same thing happened to me here. So that pretty much validated the experience I had, and it was very exciting. And for me personally, that does prove that this place is haunted. So we are at the Stockton House in Flint, Michigan. It's really cool. The Stockton House is supposedly haunted. And we are going for a ghost tour. So this is Nick, and he's going to give us a tour of the place. And
so you are now standing in our 1872 mansion, the Stockton House. Colonel Stockton was Civil War colonel. He raised the 16th Michigan Infantry. He was one of the first people to try to kind of do the call to arms when the Civil War broke out in 1861. He and President Lincoln had some beef, though, on different political views.
okay.
Actually, no, I'm sorry, our governor, Austin Blair at the time, different political views. So fought in lots of battles throughout the Civil War, including the Battle of Gaines's Mill in 1862. That's just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Until about May 1863, he retired just due to failing health. He was much older at that time. Came back here to Flint. And his regiment did go on. They fought very valiantly at Little Round Top in Gettysburg on July 2nd. There's actually a whole movie called Gettysburg. The 20th Maine gets a lot of, Joshua Chamberlain from Maine gets a lot of fame in that. The 16th Michigan actually has a monument in Gettysburg on Little Round Top, and fought throughout the rest of the war. And lived here in Flint for several decades because his wife Maria Smith Stockton was the daughter of the founder, what we consider the founder of Flint, the first European settler in this area, Jacob Smith.
Okay. I did.
Okay. This is the drawing room. We have no original artifacts here. I mean, at least like furniture-wise. We do have some other little small things like paper artifacts that are back to that era, but we have no actual like furniture. When the family sold the house, they sold off a lot of their furniture. We had if you look at U of M Flint or the Stone Museum, they have pictures of like some of the furniture that was in here, some paintings, but we don't know what happened to any of that. It'd be cool to track that down. Maybe it still exists in somebody's attic or room somewhere, or maybe it's in landfill, who knows? But it's fascinating what could still be found out there, possibly.
Yeah.
And forgive me, Renee, I need to brush up. This wood is...
I think this is maple. This is cherry and oak.
Yeah.
I think this is maple. And then in the middle is pine,
Pine, okay.
which was common.
So you see how there's the two different woods here, because you usually had a formal rug that was in the room, so they're gonna put the cheaper wood underneath the rug and then more expensive wood outside the rug. So you notice that in a lot of the rooms here.
Is this the original fireplace and
It
everything?
is, and the mantle is, we don't know what happened to that. There is a picture of this room with hospital beds in it from the 1920s, but I think it's upstairs. I have to go show that. But they use the entire building as a hospital space. They just tacked the addition on the back too.
Okay.
But again, this is all just the period furniture that we use to kind of recreate what it maybe perhaps looked like in here. So when the nuns, when the Catholic Church purchased the building, they converted it to a hospital. There used to be a servant staircase here in this part of the building going through the whole, but they removed that back in the 1920s.
So the staircase was here?
There was a staircase here, yeah, one of two.
Wow.
It's kind of like a little, if you want to call it a gift shop area, but not necessarily.
It's very cool. I would like
Absolutely.
one of these.
Absolutely. And then through here, this is where the original house ended. And this is the 1920s hospital wing that was built on the back of the building.
Okay.
These are actually pictures of some of the nuns that actually used to work here. And there's actually a picture of the drawing room that we were in with hospital beds in the room. And you can see the original. Who knows if it's actually original from 1872, but there's a fireplace mantle there. We don't know what happened to it or when it was removed.
Oh.
What's that like? There we go. And as you can see, we had that set up. They had a Titanic tea event back in April, so they just have some like Titanic memorabilia in there.
Okay.
But these are all hospital rooms. Formerly, when Renee and Freeman owned the building, before they sold it, it's a professional and friend of ours that now owns the building, but they would rent these out as offices.
Okay.
We had lots of different tenants through the years. And these are the original hospital rooms. And per modern code, they had converted them in the bathroom. Because you have to have a bathroom like on each floor, etc.
Is that an original one of the beds?
No.
Okay.
There are some artifacts like I said, that are like possibly related to the hospital era, but a lot of it's just for mock-up for show of what like, some of these rooms perhaps would look like. You can see where like the radiators used to be too, the rust stains and where they filled in, like where the pipes used to come through. A fun little fact, the house's original name is Spring Grove because behind the house over here is a natural spring. And it was actually covered up for many, many decades. There was industrial buildings that used to be over here and the railroad used to come right through here. So the land bank owns that property now, and when they removed the concrete foundation where some of those buildings were, the spring started bubbling back up.
Wow.
So they restored the area to like natural wetland.
That is really
And
cool.
that's there's some stories like they have what's the one? Forgive me, it's been so long. The Whistler.
Okay.
It sounds like somebody's like maybe patrolling the hallways, like maybe like a security guard when this was the hospital, like someone just whistling when there's been nobody here. People will hear like heavy footsteps, like boots, when nobody else has been in here. Mostly auditory.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything ever visually been seen here, as far as I know. I've been told from at least our fellow board members, but there's definitely been auditory things.
This is back to the front.
And this is the gentleman's parlor. This is where Colonel Stockton and maybe some of his war buddies when I hung out, smoke cigars, drink whiskey, talk about the war, modern politics of the day.
Okay.
And that's Colonel Stockton, definitely during the Civil War era. These are some the old photographs, including the bugler, the 16th Michigan right here, the Colonel's regiments.
Okay.
Reconstructed surveys. And I was missing.
This is.
So this is technically the third floor of the home, because the floor that we were just on is technically the second floor,
Oh.
because some of the basement is actually at ground level. And we use this room as one of the former bedrooms. Currently it's called the Civil War Room, as you can see, because it's filled with Civil War memorabilia. I love this bedroom when it was a house because you have this view. Again, there's trees in the way right now, but you could look over the spring. Nice sitting area. The door, it always is off center, so it always closes. But we were talking about actually making this into an actual bedroom display eventually, moving this into the hospital wing. This room recently, so we'll see. And funny enough, right here actually is an original from Colonel Stockton's a military engineer, Michigan City, Indiana, port that he actually helped design with engineers in the military. This is from 1838.
Wow.
So over 2 decades before the Civil War, by TBW Stockton. In 1920, when population just exploded. So these are actually pictures too. The hospital era, as you can see, this is actually the hallway that we're in now. See, they put a aluminum floor over the original wood floor, which actually in a way protected it from a lot of water damage when it was vacant in here and leaking. Granted, this floor is all not original. They had to replace all this. This area is very severely water damaged, but.
Okay. I see there's a whiteboard in there. Is that just for?
Yeah, because it's just like kind of office, like. Because again, like this was a lot of this was all leased out. Like for example, Freeman and Renee, their architecture firm, this was their office. It was like originally the Colonel's bedroom, but they use that as their office. So they're still kind of we're still kind of like converting a lot of areas into more visitor friendly. It's still storage, but yeah, there's still some remnants of when it was office space in here. But this is actually formerly the Colonel and Maria's bedroom, and then their private like parlor. So the Colonel and Maria would have passed away in this room, most likely, because it was the master bedroom. And there's actually a legend. Up in the attic, which we can't go up there just for safety. You can still see the charred boards because the night that Maria died, the house either got hit by lightning or there was a small chimney fire. That was, it was very small, it got put out, but it's kind of one of those like legends in the home. And we've talked about eventually making this like a bedroom display again, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For the hospital there.
Oh, it's hospital part continued.
And this is actually the former operating room in here. It's actually out right now, so I can't go in there. But there's an actual skylight that's been covered up, but this is the actual original operating room for the building. And for whatever reason, we don't know why the tile work is different up here versus the bottom 2 floors.
Now this looks like hospital tile.
Right, but it's like, because all ones upstairs, like beneath us and the floor beneath that are all like plain white. And this is the only one floor that has this design. We don't know for sure why. But that is the case. They kind of have like a mock up here of like what a hospital room of that era typically would look like.
Wow. Very interesting.
And down here it's like kind of like a
Oh, it's a baby.
baby, like kind of style, like care. And that's just a fire escape right there that goes into the parking lot, that door. And of course, there's room that has.
So this is the attic. It's much bigger than I thought it was gonna be. What about the roof? Very cool though. Wow. This place is so much bigger than I thought it was.
I was here, Jackie and I were here for a Dickens party, and we were dressed up in traditional clothing. And we get here, and we're talking, and I look down, and my button right in the middle of my chest is undone. And I look at Jackie, and so is hers.
Wow. So you guys, it seems quite often that women are the ones who are picked on here. Julie says her husband had an experience here. But other than that, it sounds like they like to, the spirits here, like to pull on women's shirts and dresses, tug hair. And I think that's because this place has such a history with soldiers who were here, hospital patients, and look at the duck. There's also a turtle down there on the log. They're so cute. But anyway, the husband of the home who lived here. So any number of those male spirits could be the ones who are the most active. But that was a look inside the Stockton house. I hope that was cool for you guys. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and continue to join me around our tour.